co-host.
Let me go ahead and make sure we can hear
one,
everybody.
1 2 1 2. You know I'm not a rapper. You know what I mean? But I could do a couple mic check 1 2. What is this?
Well, Temple, you'd have to read it again because it's right in there. WCW
You and your whack
/ SSU
mans.
universe mode.
Fold like bag hands.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, even in the thumbnail, we got both the deals going there.
I'm happy to see it. It's finally happening. I think the community is more united, not just through comment section, but through, I think, business, right? Like, I think we treat this as a business, and I'm happy to see it happen. Like, you'll see, like, Kai Cenat have, like, you know, all these other celebrities, right? Because they're willing to put their brand with another brand, and I think this is just a leg up, and I'm happy to be here.
What's going on, Blaze? Welcome to the stream, brother. Matter of fact, let's just go through this real quick. Jaden, welcome in. Dubs, welcome to the stream. Jesse the Jackhammer. Derek Volkowski. I'm getting better at saying it the first time, to be fair. Iffy, Jamar Games, welcome to the stream. Prime time.
Man, Jamar and Iffy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. Temple, welcome to the stream. JP, what is going on? Welcome to the stream, brother. It's funny because you're going to start seeing.
Absolutely
right?
not. Absolutely. It's all over there on Solo Season Universe. You can check it out, Jay Solo's music and playlist.
But yeah, I thought it'd be interesting today. We're going to talk a lot about storyline and timelines of storylines. Now, this came around because in my Discord, I put in a section where you could request a feud, and I don't want people to be confused on, because people are sending me messages, and you can see that maybe some hurt feeling reports have got to be filled out. But people are sending me the thing going like,
I've
hey,
got a stack of those.
Yeah, why is my feud, like, why aren't you showing it? And we're going to explain all that, like how long it takes to develop storylines inside of what we do. And I thought it'd be interesting because in the SSU, the way those develop, and in the WCW, the way those develop are two different ways. So, but the timeline, about the same. So,
yeah, absolutely. We stick to a code of, I think, continuity. I think is the name of the game. No matter what we do, I can go back however long we need to, and that match still essentially affects the match that's happening today. So whether it's part of the storyline or not, you don't go out of your way to, like, you know, to make something. I don't know. It's just sometimes people live in 3 different universes within their own universe, and that is okay. I'm not mad at people that are doing this again to have fun and do the thing. But when we talk about Blaze, me, you, and, you know, people that are really running this like a business, I think as a fan, I'm a fan of WCW Toads. You go back and you watch, you see that Jay Savage has a habit of beating legends. Yeah, just gonna put that out there.
Just throwing out
I can't beat anybody. Yeah, I can't beat anybody else's character. If you're a CAW, you're almost guaranteed to win. But damn it, if I'm going up against a WWE 2K character, it's almost a guarantee. But yes, Totes, it's serious business, man. These storylines. Don't be a minute man, and that's a pun towards the jackhammer.
Yeah. Jesse too, and there's a lot of E-Federation owners too, like Jesse, Jackhammer, Temple, R2K. I didn't see him in here, but and everybody runs theirs different. And that's why I think it's like super important to just talk about this. If there's a storyline, and we talked about this on another podcast, but there's a storyline with Digital Dogs that has spanned 6 seasons, and it's still going. Yeah. And a lot of times, I can write it down in the book. I could write the whole thing out how I want it to go. I don't control, because it's AI-based wrestling. We talked about that in the last podcast. I don't control. I can't control who wins or loses. So controlling the length of the storyline, it takes a long time. And sometimes out of the blue, something will be happening, and you guys will think it's out of the blue. Well, no, this has been going on. I've just been waiting for the moment to spring the storyline, and then finally something will happen in the ring. I'm like, finally, there it is, and then bam, we have another
boom. And that's the beauty of essentially storylines, right? I don't want to quote unquote storylines, but we're watching the roll of the dice. So let's just say we're playing craps in a casino, and you got a guy who's hot. He's rolling sevens. He's rolling sevens. Everyone's crowding around that guy, and that's the same kind of simulation that you get when someone like Dogs right now is hot. Dogs is hot. So even in my universe, I've got Dogs winning multi-man matches, right? So
Yep.
Dogs is pushing people off, doing the push-ups into a choke slam, and now he's made his way from SSW to SSU, the big leagues, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like it becomes the storyline thing isn't, with the SSU, we talk about comment section coming to life, blah, blah, blah. But that is not, it's not a one-day thing. R2K storyline has been a year now. Andrew Dubb's storyline has been a year now. It should have ended a long time ago, but his character, with his mistakes, as the Lord likes to point out, continues that storyline. He is truly our Cody Rhodes of the E-Federation community. Truly.
Yeah, because look, you know, Solo's like, oh, I'm a big fan of WCW. I'm a big fan of the SSU and the SSW. Like, watching those stories, like when they come on, what typically happens by the time Solo is going live, it's family time for Totes and his family. So we're sitting on the couch. We got the dogs. We're watching TV. Shout out to the Bark Squad. But we're watching TV, and then my wife was like, "Why are you watching your phone with the volume down?" I love hearing it. I'm gonna watch it the next morning, but like I need to see what is happening. And like same thing with Blaze. I don't always talk. You'll see. I'll jump in initially and I'll say what I say, but then I'm out and I've got it playing in the background. Like
I'm buying my ticket, the $1.99, and I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey guys, I'm here to support. I'll come back and shout out again to Dogs for creating Rewatch Gang.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because Dogs is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was like, do you realize you started a thing? You started your own hashtag Rewatch Gang, because I see Blaze do it, I see Solo do it, I've been doing it. Like ever since I saw him do it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like real life happens, and you can't watch it live all the time.
And that's the yeet. That's the yeet effect. That's like Uso with the yeet. It's like, okay, you said something one day at a conference and it stuck, right? And it stuck because people respect what you did up until that point to get there, right? So if you have somebody like Kurt Angle, that's my favorite example. People wonder, oh, why is he your best character? My favorite wrestler. One, he really is a great wrestler in real life. You cannot fake a gold medal. You can't. You cannot fake a gold medal. No. So on top of that, you get into a place where you give legitimacy to a company that's based on entertainment. Like, you kind of blend the genre. But at the end of the day, he's my favorite, right? Because he had the ability to be a heel, right? But he was a good guy.
Right?
It was a good guy. He was like spraying milk on people, and somehow that was a bad thing. He's like he was Hulk Hogan, but he was Hulk Hogan that they hated.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to see you suck, dun, dun, you suck become a term of endearment.
Yeah.
And so that is why Kurt Angle is my favorite wrestler, because he went through the ropes as quick as he could, the youngest champion, blah, 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 blah. We all know the story. Don't have to rehash it. But that happens here in the solo season universe. That happens in WCW Toads. It just happens. It doesn't happen in LTD. That shit does not happen over there. You are not getting through those multi-man matches and becoming a star. His algorithm, the way LTD goes down, his chat is just... those guys are some hardy, hardcore guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also crazy because you could have told me this, and had I not seen Blaze do this, you could have, like, I want to get Blaze on here almost. Like, you could have told me that, hey, all I'm going to do is have a bunch of multi-man matches, and there's going to be storylines involved. I'd be like, you can't even pull that off. Like, there's no way. And Blaze does it. Like, he's got this whole thing, post-apocalyptic world that does the thing, and then they're doing this, and this world's going to get blown up. But no. They got the guys over here, and this guy's coming over here, but we got this backdoor stuff going on over here, and there's a backroom negotiation, but the Rockets are going to take... I'm like, God, dog.
Yeah, hot diggity, dog.
So, like, you still have,
dog.
like, those storylines and everything going on, and it's just done a different way. And
Yeah, and he has an organic kind of like thing that I do. It got a little spy. I'm just gonna bring it up. It got his storylines. I think when he brought in, it was a while back. It was last year actually. He brought in the older crew that used to be there, the kind of legends. He brought back the legends, and they were live, and they were, kind of, oh, we're here to step up the game of the LTD and blah blah blah. I was in the chat that night. I was like, excuse me.
Yep.
I was like, who needs to step up? I mean, Jay Savage is here. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody tell me LTD needs to step up anymore. And so we had this whole conversation where in the chat for LTD, it got a little spicy for the first time. I had never really seen that, and I had to go and, of course, reach out to my man Blaze and say, hey man, what do you think? Like, did we take it that far? He's like, dude, I got Radio Rex. Like, I'm not worried too much about drama. And he's like, a little bit of spice is nice. And so again, this is how LTD runs it, and he runs his storylines, I think, kind of streamlined. He forces people to not force, but he runs his show like a boss. Like, he is the owner, right? So if he's doing a storyline, he's going to corral his talent into the storyline. With you, I see you kind of do the same thing. I saw you had a little bit of touch and go the other day with your chat, and it's because it kind of kills the mood of WCW, and the mood of WCW Totes, I think, is the gold. Yep. Like, the feel there is the same feeling I get. That's the reason why I have Peacock. Right, because I want to watch WCW Saturday Night, which they're bringing back, by the way. Did you see that?
I heard, and I was like, maybe I heard it wrong. Like,
no, it's happening, brother. WCW Saturday nights are coming back, and it's all because of you. No.
Yeah. And Blaze, I think you misunderstand what he's saying. I get what he's saying. No, you make stars. It takes a minute. Like, it's going to take a minute in those multi-man matches because, again, you've got in an 8-man match, one person can win. In a 4-man match, one person can win.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
it's a longer road. Okay,
yeah, I probably did. Okay, I'm happy that Blaze. I'm happy you pointed that out because I see it now. So what I'm saying is, like, yes, he makes stars, right? Clearly, we've got
he makes legends.
Killshot. Legends. That's a good way to put it because he makes legends. If you get through the gauntlet that is LTD and you become that guy in LTD, Killshot is the one example who I kind of like thought was the epitome of an LTD viewer or an LTD talent or fan. I don't know what, the season few, we all have our terms. And it's funny because Killshot is a season one. He's a season few. He's a WCW Toads. He's part of the Bark. So he's like, it's everybody in different universes respects each company. It's a good thing. And Killshot's a good guy for that. And what I meant with the whole thing is he said it best. Killshot was like, I never expect, like, he's like, in my universe, Killshot's like, I'm going to take it all. I want it all. It's right around the corner for me, In LTD, he's like, bro, I'm not going to get it. But if I did get it, what an honor it would be. Yeah. It would be like, what an honor it would be to finally get through the gauntlet that is LTD. And so that's, I didn't mean it in a negative way.
No,
I meant that there's a bar to be set. Yeah, there's a bar to be set within LTD, and he sets his bar of master crafting above the rest. So mine has some trickery in the middle of it, right? Of course, storyline and drama. You could be the best character in the world. Doesn't mean I'm not going to send a guy in there to sweep your legs. But that's storytelling. That's the comment section. Did you read the guy who talked trash about you? Well, it's a good system. But, LTD, I'm happy that we took the time to clear that up because it's not – I always call you the spear tip because of that reason. Like, everything that he does is accommodating – again, 200, 300, 400 people. Solo Season Universe couldn't do that, which brings us to the point of this episode today because I'm storyline based. You don't see everybody on WWE Raw getting airtime. You don't see everyone on SmackDown getting airtime, and that's why they have NXT. They've got the WCW stuff coming out now. Like, they're doing that because their roster is so large, and that's why I created SSW, is to give some younger guys shine. But to tell the truth, man, I'm not kidding around about my storylines. Like, I'm not. I want a good payoff, and
Yep.
if I take the time to write out a good storyline, you're either gonna kill your no matter what, you can't get out of it. Like
Yep.
no matter what, once the storyline is set in place in SSU, it's happening. Whether it be R2K and becoming the ultimate babyface or the underdog essentially, because he got cheated out by the Toons, got cheated out by Andrew Dubs, got cheated out by Weapon X, and then Andrew Dubs, who became the ultimate, I guess like babyface turned heel in my opinion, because he used the Toons, he used a pillar move to do what, you know,
Yeah.
it's just for me, what you mean about storylines is kind of, it's like it's the epitome of what will take this genre from big titty Indian woman number 4 versus Brock Lesnar
Yeah.
to Totes Magotes versus Blaze in a content creator match that 100,000 people are watching because they respect the two brands,
Yep.
where it's like, oh man, I gotta see virtually which one of these characters actually comes out on top.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I look at it the way, since we got that, but the way Blaze runs it, and then let's say the way you run it, WCW is kind of right in the middle of that. I let the people kind of suggest some things, or they'll say some things. There's
Yeah.
a section where they can write out their storyline. They're not really cutting promos.
What did you call it again?
One. So there's two channels. One is your story, so you can tell your story and like the backdrop of your character, and that I can typically use. I'll find a way to use that.
Okay.
But the other one is request a feud, and I should have maybe said request a storyline. I don't know. But here's the funny thing, and this is part of the point that too, before we get too far, because we can go 85 directions with this. But before we get
storyline wise, right?
but too deep into the different ways to do storylines, one, the storyline could take, again, Dog's been running one for 6 months. Vipero's been running it for half a season. Like his storyline has been going, which I know you're going to talk a little bit about Vipero and his storyline in the SSU, and it'll be interesting on the contrast. But the thing is, I put that in there because sometimes things will happen in my stream, even though I'm watching it and I rewatch it. I typically rewatch all my streams twice, but I'll watch it and then I'll rewatch it. Part of it's to listen to what I'm saying, and part of it is to see what I missed, because something like will be going on over here and I'm looking at this on the screen, and then I've got to turn my head all the way over here to see what's going on, and then I got to turn my head to see what's, so I'm calling maybe something over here and something else happened and I'll miss it. But it's
My
great.
table being on fire. You're
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
who called
yeah.
that out for me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I didn't know. It was actually R2K. R2K is the one who set the table on fire. I thought it was my son, but I revisited that moment, and yes, it was R2K.
And I've never seen it before. I've never seen that on a live stream. I've never seen on a live stream the AI set the table on fire. I've never seen on a live stream when the ring broke. I've seen it. I've seen it before. It's rare, but I've seen it before. I've just never seen it on the live stream.
Live, like to create the algorithm to make it happen. And then again, when we talk about storylines, I don't want to get off track. Who did it? It was Walter. And who no-sold the storyline, basically calling Walter trash, not understanding what he did was beyond, like, people not respecting the community is probably one of the most egregious. Who cares what your character looks like? Who cares what your stats are, Mastercraft, whatever, but not respecting the community and the work that we all put in to create a cohesive form of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? If Marvel
Yeah,
all
it's
of a
the fastest
sudden,
way to get under my skin.
oh yeah, because that's it. It's just like, again, watching. Like, let's just say something comes out of pocket where it's like Daredevil is able to beat, like, I don't know, a Galactus, or all of a sudden, like, oh my god, this blind man can't really beat this intergalactic monster. Like, it doesn't really work that way. So if people stick to the code and play an actual play a character and stick to the cohesiveness of the storyline, whether it be WCW Totes, or LTD, there's clearly a line that we're drawing in between the two. Well, you want to get on the stream? You want to say hi to the people? Huh? You want to say hi to the people? Come here, because you're yelling. Come here. You want to say hi? Clearly. Hi.
Hi.
That's it. You suck. Get out. It could have said stay seasoned. Clearly, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, so it says again, everyone talks about having like an excuse or something like that. My whole family's showing up right now, so
Right.
continue the stream.
Right. Well, and another funny part, like Temple, asked the question, why do I have a title match every episode? You're looking at titles right now on the screen. Nope, on the screen. There we go. It's really over there, but whatever. You're looking at the titles on the screen. Yeah, in WCW matches, there was at least 2 to 3 titles almost in every single one. The other thing is we have over 100 wrestlers, so I've said this. Temple's character right now is involved in 5 different storylines. And then this is why it looks like sometimes I shut people down because they're like, I want to take on this guy. And I'm like, yeah, no. You can't do that. There's too many things going on. Now, the reason I opened up that tab is I want you guys to request the feud. Tell me why, because there are things that I miss, obviously, inside the thing and things that would make for amazing storylines if other things happen. Sometimes people are in the middle. One of our biggest female wrestlers, not greatest, I wouldn't say yet, but one of our biggest female wrestlers didn't wrestle in 17 episodes because she didn't have a storyline. There was no reason to have her in there doing that.
And that's the biggest part too. And not to, saying like having someone in the comment section is the biggest way for you to get a storyline, because that's kind of how people know who you are. Like, not to say that, hey, you being in the ring isn't a big deal, but you being in the comment section, you being prevalent in people's minds is truly what it is. Don't make me do the work. Don't make WCW Toast do the work. Don't make LTD, don't make MTW, don't make us do the work. You do the heavy lifting, you become the star, and it'll be easy for us to put you in a one-on-one match against anybody and have you win. Like, it's a little bit easier when you play the part. When you get in the comment section and play the role, we can play the game.
Hey, real quick, Blaze, how did I send you the link last time? Did I send it to you over Discord? Is that what I did? Or did I send it to you in an email? I seriously can't remember. I'll send you the link right now. That way you can join in with us too.
Yeah, because he would be such a word of reason. Like, the way he do things is so, how do I say this? Like, it's very business savvy. Like, you could take what he does and copy and paste it onto another. Like, you could make an LTD food chain for WWE. Universe mode. You know what I mean? Like, what he does is I personally think he's the only one that could accommodate a large audience at the moment, right? With the style of community that he's created. I think WCW Totes is a very, 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 very close second when it comes to just viewers at one time. 500,000 viewers at one time. I think that he's kind of got the ball on that, but you are very personal. You get in depth with storylines, but you can also accommodate, okay, guys, if there's 5 people in the chat, we're going to do a little bit of a 5v5. Like, okay, like, let's, you can accommodate people, and even better, you bring back legends like, Goldberg, the best there is, the best there was, the best that there is. So, like, you are very close. I'm not sad to say or unhappy to say I am ECW. You know what I mean? We're Ratchet. I'm okay with that. We're not.
It's funny that you say it that way. Hold on, here we go. I think we're getting Blaze in. But it's funny you say that way. I've always viewed like your product too as ECW because it's this very, very unique and so entertaining. I loved ECW. And then I really, regardless, I don't care what you call us, but WCW. And then you have Blaze, where Blaze, it's like the WWE. You know what I mean? I've viewed the same
well
exact
said.
way.
Yeah. That is such, like, what I wouldn't just say whatever you are. You are the AEW. You are the TNT. You are the reason why I changed my cable package to watch TNA. You are the indie fans' true love affair, right? So, like, when we click on WCW Toast, there's a reason why you're watching the $1.99. You're watching guys fall in love with the storylines, watch guys fall in love with it, and willing to, again, like, put their hard-earned money, go buy a ticket. There's people buying more tickets to a TNA than than an AEW fight right now, because I think that AEW is feeding into their own talent's ego and not the fans' ego, and that's where WCW totes. And again, we're talking virtual reality to real. It's the total difference, right? So
This is the crazy thing. Because of how I brought Blaze
it's
in, I
definitely.
can't hear him.
Yeah, I don't hear Blaze as well. I don't. Maybe it's because we're in the game chat. Should we switch over to the here? I will switch over. If you want, switch over to Blaze, take over, and I will switch over to the game chat through the Streamlabs.
Okay. Okay, now say something, Blaze. Test, test. Testing 1, 2. Is this up? Okay, I see you. Why can't I hear you? This is ridiculous. What is going on? Try it now. That's crazy. I don't even see it. Hold on. Let me check.
I'm wondering if I still
you
have
know
my
what I mean?
audio.
No, hide on stream. Gotcha. Volume's all the way up.
Am I still on here?
You're the source.
Did I crack the code on this? No. Okay.
Settings. Everything is good. Could it be? Nope, that's up. That's weird. Everything shows it's going good. Sorry, guys. What's going to be crazy is eventually we're going to...
Totes, I think we're still on game chat. Switching from game chat to the Streamlabs chat.
It's going to be perfect.
I think that's where we're at with it. The whole input.
I can't believe it.
I'm going to try and join over at Streamlabs and see if I can hear Blaze.
On my side for sure. Okay, hold on. Let's try to reconnect. Let's try to reconnect real quick. Like, let's disconnect and reconnect. Regenerate the link. Oh, show on screen. His is... Okay, we've got... I don't know what is going on. Like, what's the real deal, Holyfield? Copied. Let me send it over real quick. We might have to make... Don't switch. Paste. Let's try it one more time. Oh, there we go. Why can't I hear? Like, what is... I don't even see it working on my end. Like, and it was working. Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. But see, it's funny. I don't see it working on that side either. Like, it's not working for solo either. I don't get it. I do not get it. That's me. What is this? That's me. What is this? Owie, that was so my testing. I don't get it. Everything's up. You know what's crazy? Me and Blaze even tested this. Can't hear you. Yeah. That's crazy. We tried that. Huh. Well, we'll have to go back to the other way. But why solo goes back to the other way? That's really weird. Like it doesn't make sense to me. We should be able to hear each other. Anyway, what were we talking about? I'm in all of it, Izzy. I'm in all the chats. I'm in all the things. So, but yeah, just really weird that that's not working out the way that we would have liked it to be working out. So, strange. And what's funny, initially I saw Blaze pop up like everything that showed it working and then stopped. So, we'll wait for him to get back in. But yeah, storyline. So it just takes a little bit longer, though, the storylines to develop than people realize. Like, you may see, like, Digital Dogs just recently saw him wrestle against Rowdy, and he requested that storyline, and he thinks it's over. It's not. He's like, yeah, let's move on. No, we're not moving on. It takes more than typically one match to tell the story. So there's things that will happen, and then there's things that will go on. And yeah, very different styles in different federations. Some people, it's like you wrestle one time and you're out next, and you're just going through. Our people aren't like that. It's really set up. WCW. So even if it's called something 123 Wrestling, let's say it's called 123 Wrestling next year. This is how I do business. Like, this is how I see and create the content. So it doesn't matter what it's going to be called. The content's going to remain the same. I have a lot of fun doing this, and then I want the people to be in it that also, like, they're having fun doing the thing too. What is going on? Triple Beats, welcome to the podcast. But I want them to, have fun too. So if you're doing, like, if you enjoy what you're seeing, then you become a part of it. There's times, like, even Totes' character. Right now, Totes he's got a belt, but he doesn't really have a storyline. You know what I mean? So you don't see a lot of Totes. He'll pop in a little bit, defend the thing. But for a long time, because of the storyline and the hottest wrestler, and this goes back into Vipeiro's character. Vipeiro, hottest wrestler, all of a sudden took over for Totes, and then Totes, boom, he falls off. You don't see him on the storyline as much. Sometimes you're a supporting character in other people's storylines. Sometimes in that story, something will happen in the ring that will branch you out, and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? So that's the tough part about being, like, in the WCW and seeing the things. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out characters. Melinda, that's a good character right there. Everything that we did, that's why you saw a lot of Melinda. Everything that I did should have led to her wrestling a certain way, and it wasn't working. So you started seeing a lot of Melinda and now all of a sudden it did. It just, for whatever reason, the game caught up with what it was supposed to, like, not what it is supposed to be doing, but the game caught up with the style of how because I can't make people win or lose. But all of a sudden the style started happening. Still lost 3 matches before winning these last couple. But then next thing you know, starts winning, now taking off. Now we're on the screen right now where she's holding 2 titles. Yeah, and it is hard. If you go back or you go and you watch any one of the streams, it doesn't matter, you can pick any one of them, you will see me tell the history of the wrestler to an extent in almost every match. Like, hey, it might be a short history, it might be like recent history, it might be long-term history, like, oh, back in the da-da-da-da-da, this is what happens, so that you get to know these characters better. That way, let's say Triple Beat has never seen anything we've ever done. All of a sudden, he's thumbing through channels. Totes My Goats, WCW Monday Nitro gets put into his feed, and he's like, let's see. He pops in and he sees. he can watch any one of our matches and at least know a little bit about if Ozzy was fighting Melinda. He'll know a little bit about Ozzy. He'll know a little bit about Melinda throughout the entire match. He'll know a little bit about R2K and Bama Boys if they were fighting. He'll get to know a little bit about them inside that same match that he's watching. And then this is why you start getting to know the characters. You start getting to know the Sentinels and the ladies, Lady Rocks and the Pennies and the Toteses and the Blazes and the Sawyers and the Prime Time, the Predator. Yeah. But you start to get to know these guys, and then you start to care about who these people are and what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. And then you start watching the stories. And even if you've got a person involved inside of WCW, this used to happen all the time. My favorite character was Sting. I used to love to watch Sting wrestle. However, there would be other storylines that would go on. And I'm like, man, I got to see what's going on with Jericho tonight, or I got to see what's going on with Rey Mysterio tonight. Man, what is happening with this? Is DDP really going to do the thing, you know? And that's why I would tune in to watch that. Yeah, and me and Blaze talk about that's a really good point. Hey, what is going on, Sarah? Welcome to the stream. Dancing Sarah. You guys see why I call her Dancing Sarah sometimes. But yeah, me and Blaze talk about this a lot, like getting to know people outside. That's why at any time, there isn't a time that any one of you have ever sent me a IM or an offline message that I don't respond to it. Every time. And that's so that we got to get to know each other and do some things. It's important for that. And it's not that I don't want to do the thing that you want, but sometimes you'll have a story where you're like, oh, I want to fight Ken Shawn. Wait, no, I want to fight Brooklyn Jokers. No, wait, I want to fight Peyton Hardy. No, wait, I want to fight Sawyer. No, I want to fight. No, I'm going to fight this guy over here. And I'm like, man, slow down. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you fighting all the people? You're not, but like, why would you want to fight all the people? Like, play it out. None of the storylines in WCW happened overnight. Not one of them. Not one. And when they did, when they started doing those quick, like, hit it and get it type storylines, you stop watching. WWE, they used to do the hit it and quit it, whatever. And that's why WCW beat them for 83 weeks. And then WWE, they started doing the stuff where they start telling these like long-term storylines where they start doing where you might see something inside of a storyline. Let's say Melinda and Ozzy are fighting. You might see for some reason, well, let's add a real one. So Tammy was getting ready to fight Ozzy for the WCW World Championship. She was going to fight her at the beginning. But instead of Tammy coming out and fighting Ozzy one of the matches, Monica came out and fought her for one of the matches, and Monica won. That's going to come back up again. You know what I mean? So it's little things like this where I see that, and I'm like, oh, branch of the storyline. Now I'm going to show you this. This isn't going to be easy to show you guys, but let me show you this. You guys have seen the book where I show you, where I say I write all the things down. Okay, 66. Where I write down the thing. You guys have seen the book. That's a match card. That's a lot of match cards. That's a thick book. That's all the WCW match cards ever. Right? That's one thing I do, but here's the other thing. This is the individual wrestler. That's Crimson right there. And her individual singles matches in a row. You can see right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 12 losses in a row. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 so far. 13 losses in a row. Hey, what's going on, King Sam? Welcome to the stream, brother. But I'm in the middle of doing that for every single wrestler too, because that's how we can derive some stories out of it. 17 losses in a row, and then all of a sudden she starts winning right now. Like right now she's winning. If you go in here real quick, If we go in here and pull up Crimson, she was rated at 79. Finally, the stuff with her, she started winning a couple matches, and now look. Now all of a sudden she's on a tear. She's got this 8 weeks of one stack. It can go up to 10, but right now all of her attributes increased by 1. You come over here, 4 weeks of 2. So her finisher, I believe, special finisher and defensive attributes all go up by 1, but that's 2. So that's like 3 special things. What was the other thing? 4 weeks right now. Details, competitor becomes focused on an objective. So right now, if she wins and she starts winning, she starts doubling these things. That's why these things all of a sudden start popping up. That's why all of a sudden, bam, she's back at 91. She's back at winning again. There'll be times where I'll use tag team matches in the hopes that a couple people will start winning, because a team wins. That's 1 win for each one of the competitors, and that starts building on top of one another. So there's lots of things that you can do, and there's lots of things you can say. And I know when you guys put this stuff in the storyline, I know when you put it in the request to feud, some of you guys are out there telling phenomenal stories that we're not going to see for a long time. Like, there's no way, because we're in the middle of too many other stories. Digital's one story got in because it was already kind of lined up with the story. Now, he said something in there that I completely forgot about, and I was sitting there going, okay, we know this is the trajectory of what's going on right now with Digital, but what's the next step? What's the next thing that makes sense? It doesn't make sense just to start fighting everybody, right? So what's the next thing that makes sense? And then he happened at the time when I put it in there, he happened to say, oh yeah, remember when Rowdy almost broke my legs and busted my mask up? Well, it makes sense. If you guys have noticed, we're starting to see a lot of the factions go down. We have the 4 Horsemen right now. We have the NWO. We have a couple others. We have the Syndicate. We have a couple others, but some are starting to see turmoil and phase out, because I don't want a million factions going on. Like, that doesn't, that's not also good for storylines. And the more factions we have, the more it starts limiting the storylines, because only X can wrestle Y. You know what I mean? So, doesn't exactly work out the same way. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways, definitely, to do things, for sure. But all of the stuff gets born inside the game. All of the stuff gets born inside the match. This is the thing, again, we'll go back. This is why I love WCW. And I was never the wrestling fan that didn't understand how the business worked. I never thought, oh, that's real. And I never thought, oh, that's fake. These people, guys and girls, are getting inside the ring, and they're cutting their promos, right, to tell the story, and then they get in the ring, and if you watch the matches in the ring, the best matches, they're telling you the story inside the ring. You watch Andre the Giant, and you watch Hulk Hogan. It's funny, I just saw a short on this. Hogan says there was a time where he got in the ring with Andre, and he's asking Vince McMahon, like, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? Hey, what's the finish? Da-da-da-da-da. He's like, don't worry, I talked to Andre. Don't worry, I talked to Andre. Andre's the champion at the time. Nobody's ever beat Andre the Giant. He's the champion. And so he goes to Andre, hey, what's going on? Am I winning? Am I losing? What's happening? Andre says, don't worry. Andre will do what's best. So and they asked him, they said, well, when did you know what was going to happen? He goes, when Andre didn't kick out. When I pinned him and he didn't kick out, that's when I knew what was going to happen. But not until then. You know what I mean? So things happen inside the ring. And when those things happen inside the ring, it breeds storylines. I sit there. I'm not kidding. I got the book in front. The book's always. This is just one of 4 books I've got now, and it's just filled with nothing but storylines. Look at just nothing but storylines. I had to go buy another notebook because there's about to be 5. You know what I mean? Now some of them are already used up and whatnot, but there's always a storyline. I talked about it when Ken Sean's like, oh, I want to wrestle so and so. No. Thank God I already had him wrestle in another match, because there's storylines. So that's what we do in the WCW. The storylines take months. So when you get in on a storyline and you start to see it working, don't jump off of it. Get in there. If you want to play a character and you want to be the character, play up on your storyline. Play up what you're seeing on the thing. Play up what you're seeing in on the screen. Don't try to change the direction. You're not a tree. There's no branches coming off of you. There's one or two maybe, but there's not many branches coming off. But when your storyline concludes, you're going to probably take a back seat to somebody else. Yeah, there's a couple comments too above this I want to show you. Yeah. Good point. That's so, and that's a good point, because that also brings up the other thing. I'm so glad you said this. I've got notes written down, but it's funny that you say it that way with the bloodline, because that's another way to say it. A lot of people see what they saw on TV, and it could be the bloodline. It could be Raven. It could be Hogan and the NWO. It could be a lot of things. And then they try to recreate that with the characters on there instead of kind of creating your own. You know what I mean? Like, create as you go. But yeah, one of the problems is, okay, well, you see this. If you look at the Bloodline storyline, and I'll never forget this because I don't like Roman Reigns. Or I didn't until just recently, to be fair. But I didn't like Roman Reigns. And that's because this guy's sitting at home being a part-timer, doing whatever. This is how I view it, right? Sitting at home being a part-timer. Eventually, yeah, he put in a lot of work in the beginning. Then all of a sudden now he's part-time in it and da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. But he said something at a WrestleMania, 2 WrestleManias ago. And he said, you're not even ready for the story we're about to tell. You think you are. You think you know what's happening, but you don't even know. They already had all this planned to take over the tribal chief and to do this. And everybody wanted to see Cody win. And yeah, it would have been great if Cody would have won. But it was bigger when he won the second time. And then Roman's like, hey, I'm going to leave. And then the Bloodline's like, no, you're not. Well, okay, whatever, leave. But now we're going to have to name a new tribal chief. Like, we can't stop going because we can't take a break. We're going to get on there. And so then the new Bloodline takes over. Now you got the old Bloodline for some reason starting to come back because now they're, you know what I mean? Like, and if you think you know what's going to happen, you probably don't. Like, he told you, you're not going to know. And it's one of those things that they're doing a really good job keeping under wraps. I know that's not exactly what Blaze is talking about, but it's funny because I see it a lot too, where people are like, oh, I'm the tribal chief. Why don't you be something else then? Anything else, really. Like, come up with your own angle. That would be amazing. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's kind of where we're going to be going too. There's some things that hopefully one day we can work on. Like, we talked about Blaze kind of being the WWE and me being the WCW type, right? Use any initials you want. And then Solo being kind of the ECW, right? And I think it's funny and it's very fitting. But it would be even more interesting if something... Anyway, there's some interesting things that could happen. Let me read what Sam said real quick. Yeah, no, that's right. There's nothing you can do to set a winner or loser when you're using the AI. And I don't think a lot of people realized AI until our last... If you haven't seen our last podcast, go back, watch the last podcast. It's very, very informative. If you're big into doing the universe mode and you're big into doing different stuff, it really kind of shows you the 4 layers, the 4 big layers. There's another layer or two, to be fair, but the 4 big layers of AI and how it's set up and how we make a lot of these storylines start to happen. I can't set the winners and the losers, but I can really influence how a wrestler like Crimson wrestles to tell my story and to tell the story. Yeah, no, and that's the other thing where it starts to get a little bit dangerous, where you mix e-fed sometimes. Actually, me and one of the guys in the chat right now were talking about some things, and he had this amazing idea that would bring together the the big E federations, and then it'd be like a hub for all of us. And I was like, no, I can't. I would have to completely trust every other E federation owner. And there's some that I do, and there's some that I don't. But I would have to completely trust the way I do things, completely trust the E federation owner, because there is a level of protection that I make sure every single person in my E federation has. Can't protect you from everything. That's not what I'm saying, but there is a level of protection that is in my E federation that I don't let people cross certain lines. And if you do, I'll warn you. And if you do it again, you're out. Like, period. You're not going to ruin somebody else's time. Period. This is an escape thing. Me and Blaze talk about this a lot too. Me and Solo talk about this is an escape. This is a way for you to get away from like the real life and enjoy yourself. That's why even sometimes some people bring in some real life stuff. Like sometimes you got to, but when people bring in some of the real life stuff, completely kills the mood of what's going on. And even though it sucks, now it sucks here too. You know what I mean? And that's the opposite of what you want to happen. You came here to just maybe take a break for a second. And don't get me wrong, you can always contact me offline if there's anything I could ever do to help you. Personally, I will. I'll do it. I don't care. You need this shirt? I'll send it to you right now. Period. But then in the chat sometimes we say some things where you're like, oh, that sucks. And then I'm supposed to keep acting like things are really cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. Sometimes that is really, really tough. So, absolutely. Hold on. I'm just catching up with the chat real quick because I know there's some good stuff. There's like little golden nuggets going on in here. Yeah. And see, Blaze talks about this. You want to keep the fans guessing and keep things tough. There are some swerves that are coming that happen all the time. Like, who in the chat right now? Tell me, who in the chat thought JP was going to leave the bikers? And then not only leave the bikers, then he leaves the Judgment Day. Who thought that was going to happen? No. I put my hand down. I didn't think that was going to happen either. But something happened in the game where I was like, man, you got to see it. That's another thing. So Blaze talking right now about the main story should be trying to be the champ, holding the top title, being the man, that journey to get there, being the woman, the journey to get there. There is not one love line story in my chat that I've ever made up. There is one in our universe right now. That one. And only because this wasn't a love story, but there's one type of story, kind of a love story, that has happened inside the WCW, and that's with the Witcher and Jakai. But it's not weird, like it's just the Wolf Queen and the Alpha Wolf, right? But there's not love stories that happen in the WCW, period. That's weird. We're not doing that. I get that they happened on TV, but we're just not doing it. So there's certain things that won't happen. That is a different storyline where now you got things going on that kind of makes sense, right? But the odds of it ever happening, I thought it would never happen, but the way this got set up, it actually worked out pretty well. That's another big thing. King Sam says right there, like it's what we do, and you hear Solo talk about it. I treat this like a business. I used to run businesses, so when we do things, I treat things like a business. I also like human nature, so if you'll hear me talk about this a lot, but I find human nature fascinating. So sometimes I'll give a couple people a longer rope than they need to hang themselves, just to see if they hang themselves, or if they don't. I like being surprised sometimes by people. Yeah, DMs are always open. Like, you can always DM if something's going on. Yeah, I think personally, if I left out some of the people if I left out some of the real people and did not allow them to cross over into the SSU, if I just, they didn't get to go into the chat, they didn't get to do anything, I'd take care of all of it. Because I understand how it works, I think me and the SSU, we could do it. I think if you brought in the people, there are going to be people, if we used certain people that wouldn't understand how it works and they would take it personal, and there's nothing wrong with that. The SSU is a different place. Not everybody liked the ECW brand of wrestling. You had to understand what it was and why it was and how it evolved and how it got there, like the people that got there and why they were there now. The Sabus and the Sandmans and the Ravens and the Rhinos and like Chris Benoit's, and like you had to understand how they got there. That was part of it. Steve Austin, early time, on his way through. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, because some people don't go in for that. They come in because like they're used to my universe. It would be the same thing. There are certain people I wouldn't be able to bring into my Discord because they would be treated like the SSU. We're two very different brands. But if Solo gets it, so if Solo was the one kind of running that, you'd be able to watch it and it'd be fine. You know what I mean? And it would work out. So that's part of it. If you're going to actually cross brands. Me and Blaze, we run things very similar, so we could probably do it. No problem. A lot of you guys get it. Our chats are very similar. So, but doing it too much, then it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Iffy. Yeah, no, and that's Blaze is right there. Like, I don't care who it is in real life, but the pixels and the real life person are two different things. I don't care if you based it on yourself or not. Totes is based on me. It's just cranked up to about 47. So it doesn't matter who you are, but my pixel guy doesn't have a daughter. I got a family, right? Like, but my little pixel guy, like, you can be like, oh, I did this with so and so. Doesn't bother me. Like, Totes doesn't have any of that. He's a little pixel dude, created in my brain. So, but being able to take that and do that and understand that, that's not the easiest thing sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. That's why also there's that level of protection. Yeah, nope, same thing. Relationship stuff's typically out. Feuds, great stories. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, and see, I think that's the thing. If you watch what Blaze's thing is, he wants his to be as close to TV, a TV type relationship, a product that you could put on TV based on the backstory of his thing of what he does. You hear Temple said, I want his to be as close to the Lucha Underground as possible. Mine is always going to be, regardless of if WCW is in the name or not, it's going to be a WCW style product every time, because that's what I love. I love it. And there are days, believe you me, where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to go live right now, but I love it. Because of the love, it keeps driving me. And then you guys drive me. Same thing. It is. It is absolutely the wild, wild west of E-Federations, the SSU. Yeah. Absolute. It is absolute drama, and it is not for the faint at heart. There are people that wanted to get in early. I'll tell you a quick, the Iffy story. Iffy's like, hey, we're jumping over there. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't you do it. This is months ago. I said, I need you to go in there and see what goes on first, and then see if that's what you want to do. Because when you go into Solo's Discord, you are in character 100% of the time. That's how it gets run, period. There's no timeout in the SSU. There's no like blah, blah, blah. And it took me a couple weeks to get used to it also. And you can interact with it as much or as little as you want to. But don't think you're winning titles and you're not really interacting with things. Don't think you're going to be main parts of the storyline. You'll be cannon fodder. Now you get in there, you mix it up, you have a good time. People are going to offend you or say things that offend you, and you're going to say things that offend people. Whatever. It's not really you they're talking about. They're talking about little pixels on the TV screen. They're little pixels. I know some of those people like offline, like, and that's not even how they are, but their character there is like that. So they run their storylines. You're always in character. There's no timeout. If you thought there was a pause, there's no pause button in the SSU. It's the best way to put it. It is not a safe space. You come into mine, it's safe, relatively safe space. You start saying offensive things, and believe me, I get DMs every single day about all the stuff. People, and it's fine. It's good. It's what I'm here for. Blaze, I know Blaze. Me and Blaze talk about this too offline. Every single day, he's getting it. Same thing. And we run it the same way. Iffy, that's why she's one of the moderators, because she's very like level-headed. So I want the level-headed part of it. I needed a level-headed person, somebody different. So she handles things too, and she's got full reign to do what she needs to do. Never seen her do anything crazy. So, well, related to people, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think what we'll do, to Blaze, to get you in. We had it working before. This is why I don't get, like, I have a thing. It's called Blaze. It's right on my screen. And I briefly saw it like working. But what we'll do is we'll get you in and we'll practice it. Maybe we'll run a dual stream. Who knows? But we'll figure something out because, yeah, and we'll talk up the cost summit. That I'm really looking forward to that. You get into these other E-Federation owners too, because here's the thing. If there was another person like me doing the same exact thing, I'm not watching them. I already got me. Like, why would I? If I was already here and watching me, then why would I watch them do it too? The reason I watch Blaze is because we do roughly the same thing, but it is completely different how we get there. I watch Solo. It is completely different how we get there. I'll watch Temple. It is really completely different than how we get there. But I heard Temple's going to start doing some of his own announcing. I'll be honest, that's the thing. I've never turned on the game announcers, because when I do it, it's like driving nails through my head. I can't do it. So I need somebody to tell me the story for real. Like, why is their thing whatever it is? There's a thing where I say, I don't completely understand, the way. I don't understand the bones of Temple's universe, which is not a bad thing. Like, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of things in life I don't understand, so nothing wrong with that. But I don't. And part of the reason is nobody's there to tell me. And you could write it out and explain it and do whatever. But now if I'm watching you in the stream and you're kind of telling me the history and you're telling me this, I get into it. I start watching it just like it's a... So I like watching the E-Federation stuff right now more than I even like watching the real stuff. And it's starting to get a little bit better on TV, which is nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that's one way to do it. Like, you're looking at Crimson right now. I'm the one who created Crimson. That is not a person. That is somebody I created. We have less and less of that now. Let me see. Haku Wolfman, that's not a real person. Absolutely created. Nobody wants this body style. I've never seen anybody be like, hey, let me make a bigger, kind of fatter guy. So, look at all these guys with the physiques. You've seen Totes. I'm the same way, so don't be fooled by any of this stuff. Kelly Kidman, 100% made up. But now we're starting to get more and more women into the women's division. So some of these made up women are going by the wayside. But some of them are icons now in our universe. Lexi Hart, that's not a real person. Totally made her up. Miss Nightmare, one of the greatest made up wrestlers I've made. She is tough. Nikita Walters, completely made up. So, there's stuff like that we have there to do things. But, some of them are made up and we do those things. And sometimes when you guys want to come into because of the storylines, I'll be looking for maybe a light heavyweight or a cruiserweight or this or that or whatever. Then when you guys want to come in and you guys aren't, and I'm doing the one that's creating you, I make you into the thing that we need. And it's funny because I'll watch people sometimes they're like, no, I want to be this guy or I want to be that guy. And I'm like, what do you mean you want to be all the guys? Like, don't be the one. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, King Sam, man, he gets in and does some things. It's going to be cool because we've got because of the stuff that you guys do. I told you all the money goes back into this to make a better product. So we've got some subscription stuff that goes on. That's why now all of a sudden we got some better things doing this and that. But we also have a soundboard coming in here so that we can also do some different stuff. We'll be doing some uh, like free type monetized streams, maybe just me playing some guitar, but we'll be able to do that. Right now we can, even though you see the one mic, we need another mic for the guitar. So we'll do that. We'll do some cool stuff. We might even do a thing where we watch a scary video game. Like I don't play it, but we watch it, and my wife will be here too, and we'll both kind of be doing the doing the reactions to it. It'll be kind of fun. So yeah, but look, like Temple says, he's like Sawyer's character is a mix between my real life and my past self and the future self I want to be. So 100%, whatever, i.e., he has trouble trusting people. Yeah, but still, at the end of the day, it's pixels. Like the thing we got to realize is at the end of the day, these are our pixels. They can't hurt you. Nobody can hurt you in the pixel world. You know what I mean? So if you can keep that like type of mindset, you come here to escape, you put your pixel self on there, you come here to escape, relax, sit back and enjoy the show. You want to play along? Play along. By all means. Absolutely play along and do the stuff. Well, and that's what's funny. Like JP asked the question, what's going to happen? We have the problem right now. Matter of fact, there's two, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. They got to go. Right now, it's already too big. But as we continue to move forward, there are people that don't stay active all the time inside the chat. And those people's characters will go by the wayside. It's already started. Like there's a lot. I've got a list. That's why you see there's a list of retired wrestlers now on the spreadsheet that I put out. Because the show's already too big. We already have too many people. So you're going to see less and less. You'll always see a Hogan type and a Sting type, right? That's why I love it when the game puts in the Goldbergs and the DDPs and the Randy Savages, because now I can just grab them. They don't take up a cost slot, which is another thing. It would be nice to have more than 100 cost slots. But now, again, what are you going to do? Like, okay, so now there's 150 cost slots. Guess what? That's going to fill up too. So now you got 150 cost slots, which means you got 150 people expecting to see themselves, and I can put roughly 20 people on a show. I do 9 matches. I do 12 for pay-per-views. Some of them have 4, so you have 18. You have 18 people, right? If it was just one-on-ones, and then you have some extras, so about 30, 35 people a show. That's not 150. And right now it's just 100, and people are like, where am I at every show? Well, like you're not in there. Right now you're not a part of this particular show. So 35 people, so every 4th show, maybe you're on it, maybe you're not. It depends on if you're in the storylines, and then it depends on your supporting role inside some of the storylines as well. Depends on some of the title belts that you hold. That's why it's great to hold a television title, because you're going to be, if you're a guy, you're going to be on every Nitro. If you're a girl holding the women's television, you're going to be on every Thunder, every time. So there's little things, and there's reasons why the belts are set up kind of the way that the belts are set up. You know what I mean? To be fair, I don't need that on anymore. It's just me talking, so. What's going on, Extreme Wrestling? Welcome to stream, brother. Elite Extreme Wrestling, actually, yeah. Heck yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, and see, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. You get in, like if you said, it's a great place to come and kind of relax, enjoy the sport without having to get too in depth with it. If you want to play into it, you absolutely can play into it. But if you don't want to play into it, you don't have to. I got you. We're going to use you in storylines. And the more active you are in chat, the more I'm probably going to use you in storylines. Yep, jobs, families, yep. Yeah, there's people that have been like, oh, I haven't been on the last 3 shows. I don't want to use my character anymore. Perfect. Because we have a line right now in the WCW waiting to get in. Now, I don't want to lose you as wrestlers. Don't get me wrong, but just we're not that kind of place. Like I'm not gonna get mad about it. I'm just move on. We're gonna put somebody else in and do some other stuff. Yeah, and well, that's a good point. All of a sudden, we had another guy come in, and then the Predator tag teams with him, and then wins the 8-man tag titles. Crazy. Susie, okay, I'll remember that. I'll remember that. Yeah, and guys, go check out Elite's channel as well. I know Susie's kind of newer here, but definitely go check her out. She does some good stuff as well. Yeah, but some of the best storylines happen when you lose. To be fair, like yeah, you're gonna win, but you can't win forever. Our longest winning streak, I think, was 20 matches in a row. 2021, something like that. Yeah, JP is one of the best of JP is pretty much always in character. I remember there was some things that happened between him and Digital initially, and then Digital's like, "Oh, okay, I get what's going on," and then everything was fine. But yeah, it's one of those things where the WCW, like in the SSU, there is no being out of character. So and that's the warning. If you want to go over there, you have to realize, don't take things personal. Don't do this. Don't do that, and just go over there and have fun. You want to be the biggest jerk on the planet? Go over there and do it. Stay in character. Don't make it personal. The personal stuff, it just never comes off well. Play into other people's storylines. Have your storyline. Like it's not easy to do, but enjoy it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you could tell. You could tell Susie. As soon as she said Susie, I know who she is for sure. But yeah, definitely go check her out. Chemistry in the yeah. Well, it's a funny thing. You guys want to talk about something super funny? Right now, if you look at the move set of Melinda, and you look at how Monica's character is set up, it's almost not impossible. Nothing's impossible because you don't know. But the way their move sets to their stats are set up, and look, Monica 91, Melinda right now because she's holding the 2 titles 96, which 90s are even rare. Like you see it. Most of them are champions or they're not cause. Everybody starts between 82 and 88 in my universe, and then based on what happens in the universe changes stats. I don't need to change your stats, except for title holders. There's the 4 categories where the title belts change. So crazy. I don't mess with I just follow what it's doing. But anyway, if Melinda and Monica were gonna fight right now in a knockout match, it would be hard for Melinda to win because Melinda goes after body damage. Like her moveset really is a lot to do with body damage. Knockout has to do with head damage. Monica's has to do with head damage. So her holding the knockout title, when I kind of started realizing this, the difference between how, and it wasn't just them too, but the difference of how they line up, there are some that it just, the knockout title just didn't line up with what we were trying to do. So that's why we had to change it to the hardcore title. Because it's not, you can't win or can't lose. It's just that particular way to win. Sometimes your character is going to be at a disadvantage. And you don't want to be in a first blood match with Totes. Totes is probably going to beat you. It doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter who you are, because it absolutely does. But almost every move Totes has goes for your head. So depending on how you do will really depend on like whether, you know, you make it or not. So it's one of those things. Come here. Come here. So it's one of those things where you got to kind of watch out. So when you're like wanting to challenge somebody, it's another one of those things where, whew, be careful what you wish for. You really kind of want to see what's going on. Oh yeah, Susie knows. Susie saw it. Radio Rex, gotta love them. But yeah, so one of those things, be careful what you wish for. But the biggest thing, and the thing that I want you guys to take away, is how we do things here is very storyline driven. It's not, oh, X, and there's a lot of E federations where X wants to wrestle Y, and so X wrestles Y, then great, they won, and moving on. There's a lot where they're storyline driven. There's a lot where, you know, it's they're trying to get as many people on so that, you know, they can see, and that's fine too. Like there's no wrong or right way to do any of that, but you just have to realize when you're watching those particular shows, what you're watching, what are you doing, what are their rules. And the reason why I'll say I don't exactly understand somebody's E Federation, I just wanted to realize that I don't want, and not everybody understands mine. That's why we do podcasts. But I don't want you to be watching and be like, oh, why can't I ever get this? Or why can't I ever do that? Or why am I not involved in this? Well, here it's not the story yet. Could be the story one day, just not yet. And a lot of these stories, again, it takes multiple things. We've changed the way that we do. When you look at the previous seasons, I was only getting in 22 episodes a year. This year, we're already up to 76. I mean, we're going to probably, I don't think we'll hit 100, but it's going to be close before the next game drops. And there'll be some overlap when we're going through and doing stuff. And then that'll bring back the creator streams. Right now, it's hard to bring in the creator streams because when I'm changing outfits and changing this and doing that and doing all the different stuff, the main reason is because it's the story. It's the storyline. So, but we'll do a lot of the creator streams where we create all the title belts and we'll create the arenas and we'll create all the stuff. One of our podcasts is all going to be, you know, when the 2K25 stuff starts dropping, we're going to start coming out and talking and how that is going to affect our universe. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why people call the Bark Squad. These dogs are on another level. But I spoiled them, and they like to be covered in bankies. You know what I mean? Like Beyonce said, if you love her, you got to put a ring on it. But if you love my dogs, you got to put a blankie on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, and it's fun. There's all these build-ups, all these different things that could happen. That's why we started using cutscenes a little bit more, so you can kind of start seeing part of the stuff. I wish they would bring back in-ring to where you could see the in-ring promos being cut by the certain wrestlers. That made it a lot easier to kind of help tell those storylines. And when they took that away, it makes it a lot more difficult. So, and a lot of people don't realize, this should be on a different podcast, but a lot of people don't realize the problem with universe mode. So if you don't understand the issue with fixing or updating universe mode, I'm going to lay it out to you. You have my faction. That's compartment 1. You have compartment 2, My GM. You have compartment 3, Play Now. You have compartment 4, not Superstar, but Showcase mode. And compartment 5, you have Universe mode. Now, before 2K22 came out, all 5 of those compartments were built differently using different code. Let that sink in for a second. That means if you're going to update the game and you're going to put in this like really cool match type, you can't put in the match type in all of the areas. So then you can't really put in the match type because now you got to write 5 different codes to kind of, really 4. You can kind of almost take Showcase out. But you got to write 4 different codes now to put that kind of a match type in. That's what was so bad. Well, 2K20 comes out, completely crap, and it's because they no longer could keep stacking and building. It started breaking everything down. So then they skip a year. They come out now with 2K22. It's a different company that's doing it, and they rewrote the codes for the first 3 boxes, but Universe mode, the only one that doesn't speak the same language. Showcase speaks a different language. It's a slingshot technology crap that I'm not a big fan of, but whatever. And Universe mode is still built on a different code. So now when they try to add things to it, most of the time it breaks Universe mode. So people are like, fix Universe mode. Not that easy. What they should have done was when they should have did exactly what they did, and then the day after they released it, taken like 3 or 4 people to start fixing Universe mode. And it wouldn't have been ready for 2K23, and it probably wouldn't have been ready for 2K24, but maybe it would have been ready for 2K25, where now they have a completely rebuilt that talks to the other things. It's like in line with the game. So now when you add stuff, it's not breaking Universe mode. It works throughout the entire game because the entire game now is speaking the same language. So when people are like, fix Universe mode, that's why they can't do it or haven't been able to do it. I'll tell you, man, and 2, I've got some huge ideas. Like, as we grow, we'll see what happens. Yeah, no, I really liked it. Well, and that's the thing too about Blaze Radio. He's got a place. I filled out like a lot of people don't know this, but on inside YouTube studios, like it's a place where sponsors can come and you can hook up, and we're not getting a lot of sponsor like movement or any, to be fair. And it blows my mind because what we do in here, every E-Federation is set up to plug products. In between every single match, we could play a commercial or play a this. Blaze does it, and I've talked to a few people about maybe doing some things and doing some stuff. Hey, what's going on, Digital? Welcome to stream, brother. Welcome to the podcast. And start making our own as well. Like fake products, and have people, read the sponsor ads and stuff to show sponsors for real. This is how it could be in a show. Like, we're already set up to do it. If you run an E-Federation type show and you run it live, you are set up to do it. Yeah, and this is another, like, the controversial statement, though. Like Susie says, she's glad the gauntlet matches, the different stuff. We got this stuff. We got one of the different arenas in WCW now for the War Games. I'm glad they finally did War Games. But when they release it on last generation consoles and they release it on this generation consoles, I've never seen them do it for this many years in a row. This is ridiculous. And I get some people don't have the other thing, and I've got it. However, I do have it, and I'm wondering why, with the power of the PS5, are we limited to the number of cost slots? Are we limited to this? Are we limited to the match types? Why do we can still only put 8 people in a ring when in any other game, you can have 30 people on the screen at the same time. and we can only figure out a way to put 8 wrestlers in a game. What do you think that comes from? You know what I mean? So I'm a little tired of them releasing it on last generation consoles. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they would take and feel the power of the dark side. You know what I mean? Like, let the Empire strike back. But is what it is. It is going to be what they do. Yeah, and I say this a lot. Me and Blaze talk about this too, you know. And I'm not trying to complain about what's in the game. What I want you guys to understand is why it is in the game, why it is the way it is, what is happening. When you complain, is it even going to be reasonable? Now, unless they started rebuilding Universe Mode from the ground up, Universe Mode is not going to be drastically different next year. And I've heard other content creators, if you guys are out there, listen to me right now, content creators, shut your mouth. I'm getting tired of, get rid of Universe Mode. Just make Universe Mode into GM Mode. Dumb. Do you realize who makes this game work? Because they're in the chat right now. Temple, Blaze, Solo, Susie, etc., etc., etc. We're the ones that keep the game going all the time. Everybody else comes in, and they'll come in and they'll do the things, and they'll check out the new stuff, and then bam, they're gone again. You even have content creators right now that don't even play the game. And they got tens of thousands of subscribers. It blows my mind. They don't even play the game. They're like, oh, I haven't even played this in a while, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, the guys that do it day in and day out, the guy using your product day in and day out, right now, more than you need to know. Right now. I have 1,441 hours in this game. It's right down the bottom left-hand corner. 1,441 hours. Just saying. So, why don't they bring in a Blaze Radio and ask him his opinion? A Susie. A Solo. A Temple. A Totes. Why don't they bring us in and ask us our... Like, people that actually do this stuff and run this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Triple Beat, same thing. Triple Beat's here. He's talking about the same stuff. Why don't they bring that in? Let's talk about it. So... Yeah, no, it's the same thing I'm expecting too, Blaze. Like, unless they're going to overhaul it so the entire game speaks the same language, that's all. That's the best, almost the best you can hope for. Now, they've done a few things to where, like, they added ambulance mode and the special guest referee, and they added the stuff, but it's why they're probably not going to be able to add back-end promos. They're probably not going to be able to add in, which they could. If the whole game spoke the same language, they'd be able to do it, no problem. That would be the thing that they're working on. But until they do that, until they harness the power of the dark side, it's going to be tough. So, yeah, no, I mean, I expect the same thing. Then as a content creator, I want to use it. I want to get the new game and I want to use the stuff. And so I think it was Temple said somewhere around January 12th, we're going to start getting the first information on 2K25. So we'll see. We'll see what it is. What have they been doing? Did they start a couple years ago and start trying to rework? Or did they just put a massive amount of resources into Universe Mode? Highly doubt it. But it would be super cool if they did. It would be super cool if they did. Let's see. Just real quick, I'm just catching up real quick to see. Well, I hear what you're saying, like small potatoes, yeah, but it's probably the same reason why, if they really wanted to make money, no doubt, I could increase the money they make in my faction today by 4 to 10 times if they just listen to what I say. Just do the thing, and it'd be super easy. All of you guys would be in there right now buying stuff. Kids would be in there asking mom for their $5. Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I mean, JP. So that's why the guys, and that's what I mean by the guys talking about get rid of universe mode. Shut your mouth. If you got rid of universe mode and we couldn't do the things that we do, and I'm not doing it in play now mode, and we couldn't do the things that we do, there's a lot of people. The game would come out and it'd work like AEW. You know why AEW failed? I never played it. Can anybody even guess why AEW failed? Creation suites, there wasn't one, so I couldn't even create anything anyway. So then I wasn't going to go in there and I didn't even spend money on it. They're like, oh, there's no AEW 2. Who cares? There's no WWE, like little dudes with big heads. I don't care. Like, seriously, it does not bother me. I want to actually, the big idea would be to create a game specifically for what we do here, where all of it, whether it was tied to the WWE or tied to anything, tied to any federation, doesn't matter. But similar type graphics, all creation suites. All the resources were in creation suites and into the sandbox. Create whatever you want, whatever you come up with. Bam. Yeah, see, every one of you knew it. Every single one of you was saying it. Look, even Susie never bought it. Blaze knows, Dubs knows, Prime knows. That might be coming too, Blaze. I'm telling you. I have some big ideas. But as we grow as a community, and again, we're not in the same boat. Temple, Blaze, R2K, Solo, me, Susie, not in the same boat. Where are you? Where are you? I don't mean to keep leaving you out because I know you do the thing too. Triple Beat. We're not in the same boat, but rising tides raise all ships. You know what I mean? So as those tides keep rising, as we keep doing the stuff, all of us rise together. I used to think that I was the only one that did this. And then I saw some other people doing it. Then I believed I was the only person that did it at my level. And then we started seeing, I saw Solo, and then I saw Blaze. Then you see Temple, and then you see other guys starting to do the same thing. Then you see Susie. Then you see Kelly. People out there doing this thing. Then you see the SWW. I go watch their stuff too. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, JP knows. And then, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys open up a whole new world to me as well. So I didn't want to be the only one doing it. But I mean, I'm telling you, for years, people are like, what? And I'm like, I'm the only one that does it that I know of. Do you want to talk about a niche? I got the niche. And it wasn't an E-Federation thing. That's not what I'm saying. But to do it at this level and to do it like it was an AI versus AI thing, so I can't control like who wins or loses. To take people out of the chat and make wrestlers out of them, along with some other things, and then to make it story-based, and then to turn off the announcers and to do the commentary. So, And guys, look, if you're trying to start your own e-federation, I am telling you right now, I don't care if nobody's in the chat. You act like there's 100 people in that chat. You act like there's 1,000,000 people in the chat, and you commentate 100% of the time. You go all in. You want to grow? You go all in. Don't half-ass it. All in. Don't be like, oh, nobody's here. I'm gonna phone this one in. Oh, I got to take this phone call. All in, all the time. Now, for me, if Mrs. McGoats calls, that's the only thing that's going to stop this. Mrs. McGoats or my daughter, my son, like if family, yeah, I'm going to take the call real quick. And if it's not important, I'll be like, hey, I'll call you back later. If it is important, we'll figure it out from there. But it's the same thing. Oh, man, the produced shows take forever. I knew that was out there. I knew the produced shows were out there, and that does take forever. But there's a few of them I really, really like watching. Not all of them, but I do like, there's some out there that I do like watching. Yeah, no, pre-edited shows are very difficult to make, for sure. So, but yeah. But guys, that is going to do it for us now. Just remember the storylines. That's what we do here. When you see where your storyline is going, stop trying to change it. Stop trying to change it. You're going to hurt your own feelings because the show is going to have continuity. It does. And the way I run the show is going to have continuity. I will not let you ruin the story. I'll let you enhance it. And you guys do a good job of that. I just want you to understand the timeline, it takes a while. You want to be a loner, don't tell me you want to be a loner and then in the next, like I get bust you out and then you're like, oh, I want to be with this guy. No. You're walking your own path now. And you are for a while. Does it mean you're never going to be in something else? No. But it means you're going to walk this path for a while. Like we set things up to go a certain way. What's that mean? Because you said a certain thing might actually line up with a different story. And your story might not be the main story. You might feel like it's the main story to you, but you might be supporting somebody else's story. And that's what wrestling's about. Here anyway. Support their story. I have no problem putting any one of you over with my character, Totes. Totes could lose every match. Doesn't bother me. If there's a reason and a purpose and a story to it. So, yeah. And then the longer you're here, the nice thing about the way it's set up, the belts matter. So, you want to see how it matters? You're not sure how it, like I explained it in the other podcast, and I also release our spreadsheet on the Discord. If you guys haven't got into our Discord yet either, join up in the Discord. That's where the community is doing the thing, you know what I mean? So let's go real quick, just in case. I know we're getting off, but just in case you're in the chat right now and somehow not in the Discord, let me paste the link. That's it. Jump in the Discord. Do the thing. But yeah, I really appreciate all you guys. Again, all the money goes back into the channel. If you guys want to become members, there's ways to do that. But all you ever have to do is subscribe. Be a part of the community. We have an amazing community. And I will tell anybody this. I will put our community up against anybody's community. I've showed some of you guys the numbers where we're outdoing people with 10,000 subscribers. That's you guys. That's not all me. That's you guys. So we have an amazing community. Become a part of it. We love supporting one another. And yeah, hopefully next time we'll have Solo on for a little bit longer. I know he had some things that was going on. We'll get Blaze in. That'll be amazing. Hopefully next Friday. That'll be what we shoot for. We might even have another podcast in between then. We'll have to see what happens. But love all you guys. Love what you guys are doing. Thank you for being a part of the community. Remember when you're out there today, tomorrow, maybe choose a little bit of grace. Show somebody a little bit of kindness. Maybe that's the thing that they need in their life. I grew up fighting, so like I'm I'm all about choosing the other way, but you know, sometimes people need something else. So very excited about it. But we'll catch all of you guys in the next one. Peace.